Good evening, everyone. Very happy to be here. And this is a very special session where all of us come together to be channels of healing for our brothers and sisters everywhere. So let's begin with a prayer. Divine Mother, Heavenly Father, friend, beloved God, great masters, Jesus Christ, Babaji Krishna, Sri Lahiri Mahashaya, Swami Sri Yukteswar Ji, Paramhansa Yogananda Ji, saints of all religions, friend and guide Swami Kriyananda Ji, we humbly bow at thy feet. Divine Masters, we invite your presence, your blessings in the session. Open our hearts, our mind, that we may be channels for your light. Flow through us, through every breath, through every thought, every action, that we may be channels of your light in this world. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. I was reminded of the story that Yogananda ji shares in his book, Autobiography of a Yogi, of the three hermits. It is, I think, in the chapter, The Law of Miracles. These three hermits who have this wonderful prayer, we are three, thou art three. And miracles follow wherever they go. And, the local bishop thinks, I've got to change the prayer of these three men. They don't belong to any of the canonical incantations that are followed by our congregation. So we have to teach them our prayer. So he comes to this local village to teach these three hermits the formal prayers of Christianity. And so he spends some time with these three hermits, and after he teaches them the prayer, he gets into a boat and he leaves. Except that just as his boat leaves the shore, he sees a light following him, and he sees these three hermits are following the boat and they're walking on water. So they come after the boat saying, "Oh, we have forgotten what you taught us. Please tell us again." And he says, "No, don't worry. You're just good. You're good with whatever you're praying, just stay with that." The simplicity and the power of the story is in the simplicity of the three hermits. We are light. But now, is it enough to say that we are light and so, everything we do, everything we think is going to be light? It's not so simple. As they say, a rose by any other name will smell just as sweet. Now, that's true for the rose, because the rose doesn't have free will. But mankind has been given free will. So mankind too, by any other name, will simply be man. But the fragrance of God, the power of God diminishes because we use the free will that God has given us incorrectly, or we are imperfect channels for that power to flow through us. So in this brief inspiration, there are so many ways to look at this beautiful topic of how to be channels of the divine light. On one level, it's, if we can simply, through daily practice, it's again something that comes to daily practice. We are light. I am light. I am a child of God. Yes. And we are children of God. But added to that affirmation must be the power of faith, the power of truth. And that is where the practice of our daily lives needs to come in, to give that affirmation strength, to give that affirmation the power of God's light. So, of course, we have a lot of tools and techniques. I won't go into that, but on every level, on the causal level, on the astral level, energetic level, on the physical level, we need to work on all these three levels to clarify our consciousness. Every cell in our body is a channel. Every breath is a channel. Every thought is a channel. Every action is a channel. So how do we start working on ourselves? Do we start working on every cellular level, on every thought level, on, that's quite cumbersome. Yes, there is that element as well to our practice, but we don't want to be bogged down by the practice at that level of detail. When we simply bring faith, when we do what the guru has given us to do on a daily basis, these little details automatically start taking care of themselves. When the time is right, as Yogananda ji would say, one moment of deep meditation and incarnations of karma can be wiped away. So there is this very important element of time and space to the causality of events on this physical plane, even in our becoming, even in our self transformation, even in the uplifting of our consciousness. There is a time and space element. Not that we want to stretch it too much, but the time and space element exists simply to the degree we learn how to surrender. When we surrender, time and space disappears. And these are the mysteries of the spiritual path, that we think, oh, time and space, oh, this is all right. Some people take 10 years, or Swamiji waited 10 years to tell somebody something. Master waits incarnation sometimes to bring our consciousness to a certain level of evolution. Yes. And also the other side is, it all, as they say, patience is the shortest path. At the same time, surrender, that giving up our self-will in the pursuit of one goal that has been given to all mankind, that is to realize ourselves as children of light, to realize ourselves as children of God. That is the one goal we all have. That is the first step to becoming a channel of the divine light. We need to get our goal clear. And that goal is, while we have a lot of goals in life, on different planes of our existence, we do not want to lose sight of that one goal, which is that I am a child of God, I am a child of light. And around that central axis, every other goal may spin. But if every other goal takes the place of that central axis, that's when we become peripherally scattered. And everything that we do, everything that we think, begins to lose its power of channeling that divine light. And unlike the three hermits, what is it that those three hermits epitomize? Faith, total lack of self-doubt. Oh, those three prayers, we are three, thou art three. Don't you think that's a foolish prayer? Will that work? The usual ramblings of our mind, self-doubt, skepticism, lack of faith, all of these elements which are the result of fear in our consciousness, these need to be surrendered into the light of the spiritual life. We know what point in our body we need to offer these germs of limitations of ego consciousness. We know where to offer them. Yogananda ji has given us those tools. Bring it up the spine, offer it at this point. The spine and the brain, he said, they are the altars of God. And we want to fill the spine and brain with light by meditating every day. You might be feeling most restless when you sit for meditation. It is all right. We just need to keep at it day after day after day. Just do it believing, as Christ would say, pray believing, do believing. We have a lot of tools and techniques, friends. We simply, as Swamiji would say, did the master say it? Yes, if he said it, let's just do it. Likewise, whether it is energization exercises, you see, preparing the body. One of a very wonderful thing to do when we prepare ourselves for, especially for sending out healing, a very good thing to do is to conserve that pranic life force within us. So often, sometimes people will, eat less or not eat. Fasting is a very good way to conserve that pranic life force. So preparing the body, gathering that prana, conserving that life force and filling the spine and the brain with light is one way of preparing ourselves consciously to be a channel of light, especially when we are talking here in this matter, we are talking about focusing that energy to be able to share it with somebody who is in need. And generally also, you will notice, as we practice these techniques regularly, sincerely, our dependence on outer forces of food and water and sustenance of for health and vitality, they begin to decrease. And our dependence on inner forces, whether it is inner strength, whether it is prana, whether it is the faith that gives you the power to go forth, all of this begins to, we begin to feel an increase of this divine power that is within us. And another important thing I want to mention in our pursuit of, increasing the light within us is this very important point. Don't stay comfortable. Always, and that is why Yogananda ji would say, don't live life the ordinary way, which is through the comfort of past habits. That is one. And also, don't keep things comfortable. Don't do only that which is doable. It's always good to push the envelope, to push the boundaries. The some a while back, a couple of us were just looking at a few scenarios, and we were looking at, okay, what will work well, what do we have in front of us, what are the resources in front of us, and what can we aim for. And there is a very clear real temptation of wanting to limit ourselves. Oh, these are my resources, this is what is possible. And Yogananda ji would say, bite of more than you can chew and then chew it. And this is very important, because if we keep things comfortable, there is no need to rely on the masters. There is no need to rely on divine power. What are we relying on? On the power of our limited ego consciousness. And so we choose our goals also to keep us in that limit, to keep us within that comfortable limit. We will never experience divine power if we allow ourselves to belittle ourselves that way. To be human is to be divine, as Yogananda ji would remind us again and again. And to be channels of divine light. Start where the source is, that we are children of God, not with the bundle of self-definitions that tell us this is possible, this is not possible. Sometimes it is in the darkest hour that the greatest light can flow through. And St. Paul would say, when I am weak, this is something that has always remained with me. He would say, when I am weak, then I'm strong, because then Christ can flow through me. Because that's when we rely on God. Otherwise we think, oh, I can do it. We even forget to remember God, So it's when things get difficult. It's when something is beyond the reach of our, skills and talents and abilities that have brought us so far. That's when we begin to plumb into the depths of our being and ask ourselves, do I have it in me? And yes, we have it in us, but it needs a guru, it needs a divine power to draw that strength out of us. And we need to allow ourselves those windows of time where we are tested, where we are called forth in the midst of darkness to emerge into the light, like the butterfly. So I would close this inspiration by saying, cherish those moments when things seem difficult, when things seem tough. It's all right. There's always light within and around us. If we only choose to see the light, as Master would say, when you look at the flowers, you can just look at it as a frail flower that will be there in front of you, maybe for a couple of days, and then it will wither and it will die away. Or you can choose to see God smiling at you in that moment, and it will remain eternally with you as a moment of blessing. So how we choose to see channels light or channels darkness. So let's remind ourselves again and again that this body, Yogananda ji said, is a divine battery with every sense that he has given us, with every cell in this body that is performing its unique function every day without complaining. In every cell, Yogananda ji said, there is tremendous light. He said to keep the city of Chicago lit without electricity for a week. And there's so many billions and trillions of cells in our body. We are light, friends. We are light. Oh. Let's take a few moments to share this light with the whole world, especially where there is strife, disharmony, hearts in pain, in turmoil. Let us visualize this light awakening within each one. And let us see the soul's dependence on the source of all that is. Let us, rubbing our palms together, gather this light within us and send out these rays of Om out into the world. And as we chant Om, let us see this power vibrating through every atom in creation, awakening that light within. Om. Om Shanti.